I've actually got New York behind me. I'm kind of missing the city. I really am missing the city. Uh, I'm kind of a transplant into Jersey, but I really miss New York. So that's why I think for the last week I've been putting up images of New York City. You know, places where I used to frequent. This is actually the Village. I kind of like the Lower East Side. That was like my stomping grounds when I was younger. Um, but yeah, enough about me. It is Forget the Narcissist Friday. Let me go ahead and pull up my notes. Busy day, busy day. The community is growing, not as fast as I would like it to grow, but with everything comes in time. Um, I am definitely a firm believer in that everything comes at its proper time. Sometimes we can't rush stuff, but I'm proud of what we've done as far as building a supportive community for people that are stuck in narcissistic abuse or the trauma bond or anything that takes away their joy. You know, I think that's kind of the important thing is just to reclaim our joy, just to reclaim our happiness, because that is literally something that we lost while we were caught in the dynamic with them until after we're out. Strangely enough, we don't notice how much we truly lost, by just constantly giving to a demon that just couldn't give you the bare minimum back of what you were giving them. Yeah, it's crazy. So let me just see. How many times have you told yourself, I know they're bad for me, so why do I still miss them? I think I'm going to start right there because that's a question that many survivors ask themselves. They say, well, I know this person was bad for me. In fact, they were horrible. Why do I still feel like I miss them? And that essentially is the trauma bond. And we're going to go over many aspects of the trauma bond this evening during this Forget the Narcissist live stream here. I'm a little bit all over the place. It's kind of crazy because sometimes I'll leave my computer on for like days at a time, and then there's always an update waiting for me. So that's why I was like 2-3 minutes late, waiting for the update to finish doing what it was doing. Um, yeah, yeah. I guess today was a good day. I guess it really was a good day, because I got so much done in the background as far as real talk, the inner circle, the community. Hey, Brenda Blessing, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Getting the community built. That seems to be the focus of what I do these days. Getting that community built, getting it set up, so that it does have that environment that speaks towards healing. You know, when you get caught in narcissistic abuse, or I should start saying when you realize that you've been caught in narcissistic abuse, and then you find your way free, then comes the trauma bond. That's the part that really catches us out there. I mean, we survived actually dealing with the narcissists. We survived their games. We survived all the things that they did to us because they had nothing better to do with their little demonic lives. But it's the trauma bond. It's the fact that you start to wonder why you still feel attached and at the extreme feel like you miss them. Especially when common sense is telling you that you should not feel that way at all. Um, I remember when I was going through the trauma bond, and I do consider myself healed. It took longer than I expected, but I do feel that I am healed. When I was going through the trauma bond, that was the thing that really put me in like a state of supreme confusion. It's like, okay, well, the reason why you're not here anymore is because you know that this person was evil. You know that this person was no good for you. So why do you find yourself in these moments where you feel as if you miss them? One of the things that I had to realize as far as getting over that hurdle or that speed bump was that I had to stop blaming myself. Because you have to remember, at the same time, I'm doing what most survivors do. Once you figure out, it's like, oh my God, this is what they're talking about when they talk about narcissists. I've got one right here. You know, you start studying it and you start looking up stuff and you start joining people's lives like this, and you're getting as much information as you can. And then you come to the conclusion, okay, this is a narcissist. This is why I've been feeling this way. This is why my nervous system is off whack. This is why I need to get the hell out of here. One word that all creators, you know, that I consider worth their salt will say, once you realize that you're in a narcissistic dynamic, you have one choice: run. That is literally your choice, to run. There is no other choice. Okay, there is no other choice. You've got to start planning your exit strategy. You know, and once you get to that point where you're planning your exit strategy and you're out, and I don't care where you're at, you could be in a shelter, you could be with family and friends, you could got your own place, you could have bought your own house. It doesn't matter. This is where the trauma bond kicks in, and this is why I speak about narcissistic abuse so much, is because this is the part that hurts the most. Remember, you survived the devaluation. You started to realize that everything was fake. You started to understand that this person had nothing but ill will towards you. You understood this. This is what made you run or get the heck out of Dodge. These are the reasons. So how come when we get out of Dodge, we start ruminating, as they say? We start switching reality around in our minds to make us feel as if sometimes we left too late. Or, or sometimes if we would have just listened to what they said and stopped being too sensitive or stopped being too emotional, maybe they would have turned around. We start thinking about this stuff, and then here comes the real slap in the face, is now this person has just jumped into, in the matter of days, if not hours, into a situationship with another person. Now we're really confused. Now we're really not understanding what the hell is going on. I have just spent any place from 2 to, I think the last person that we had on live said 35 years, 2 to 35 years with this person, and they just walked away as if I never existed, as I never took up space on this reality, as if we never slept together in the same bed. They just moved on. So this shows you the level of uncaring. This shows you the level of evil. This shows you the level of they never cared about you, but yet and still you find yourself in a situation where you're missing this demon. Who misses a demon? I've never seen a scary movie or a horror movie where, you know, the person, you know, the exorcism takes place, the demon is vanquished and sent on its merry path, and the person just sits up in the bed and is like, you know what? Thank you, Father, for getting rid of that demon. However, I kind of got used to it. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. Okay, it's called Stockholm Syndrome, where you actually become attached to your abuser. You know, again, when we look at that crazy analogy that I just gave about the horror movie, nobody, and I've seen a lot of horror movies, nobody wakes up, you know, gets the holy water thrown on them, the demon is going, wakes up and says, you know what? Maybe I could just spend a little bit more time with the demon. I think we were coming close to an understanding. That doesn't happen. But yet and still, you find yourself in that situation with your narcissistic abuser. You know, this can stretch from weeks to months. You know, it's like that song from the 80s, There's Always Something There to Remind Me. Let me back that up for a second. What is there to remind you? You know what you experienced. You know what you lived through. You know what you dealt with. So anything that is there to remind you, as far as ruminating on perceived good times, you know already deep down inside that there was no perceived good times. Everything was based off of you and your nervous system being a junkie waiting for a dopamine hit. You know, and I think since forget the Narcissist Friday, I need to be straightforward with this. This is what it was all about. Before Ricky paid 27, thank you for joining. That thing that the narcissist does intentionally, strategically, and on purpose, intermittent reinforcement. If you don't understand what that means is what they're going to do is you're going to have a moment where you feel seen, a moment where you feel cared for, a moment where you think everything is going to work out, a moment where you think that you've now reclaimed the person that you met in the beginning. As soon as you get settled, especially your nervous system gets settled in this moment, then they come and they pull, hey, what's up, man? You know, then they come and they pull the rug up from under you. Now you're going to get isolation. You're going to get the silent treatment. You're going to feel as if you're not seen. You're going to feel confused. You're going to feel as if you're not loved. You're going to feel as if the person that you met in the beginning has ran away from home. And what happens is, and this is where it becomes so nefarious, and people that heal can tell you that you will see how the cycle plays out. Those perceived good moments become shorter and shorter and shorter. Those I'm going to pull the rug up from under you, those become longer, longer, and longer. So what you're doing is you're getting hooked on this person's potential. You're getting hooked on hope. Okay, the potential of what they showed you at the beginning of the relationship during the love bombing stage. Okay, that potential. Okay, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you this very clearly. You weren't looking at their potential, you were looking at your potential. And let me explain that. The reason why you were looking at your potential versus their potential was because they were mirroring you. So what they were basically doing is they were listening intently. It's called data mining. They were listening intently to what you felt about your dreams, what you felt about your goals, what you felt about the things that gave you joy. And what they were doing was they were just throwing that right back at you. Everything that you do, for some strange reason, you have just met your soulmate. That is where their interests lie. This is the things that they've been doing all of their life. Thank you for the follow, Linda, and thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You know, you're looking at yourself because all they're doing is taking what you say to them and they're throwing it back at you. They're regurgitating, and this is the reason why they're doing it. Okay. And I say this often, but there are people that are just joining, so I have to say this again. You'll never get a red flag about yourself. And the narcissist knows this. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? The narcissist knows this. There is no way in the world, if your dimensional twin popped up in front of you, you would be like, cool, this is me. Where are you going to see a red flag? Again, we tend to forget that the narcissist does this on purpose. They have been practicing this for decades. Okay. And yeah, in the very beginning, I mean, when I was younger, I think in my early 20s was my first running over narcissists. They wasn't too good at what they did. So I was able to break free and not really experience the trauma bomb, you know. But I'm quite sure that 20, 30 years later into it, that they're a whole lot better at what they do. There's probably a whole bunch of broken relationships, a whole trail of them behind them. But the important thing to the narcissist is that they master their art of manipulation. When we look at the narcissist, we're looking at a virus. Okay, a virus has one purpose in life: find a host, drain host, take what's needed to sustain virus, and move on to the next host. That is the complete life cycle of a virus. The narcissist is no different. Okay? When we talk about supply, it's just not your emotional reactions. It is so much more. They are literally viruses. Okay? If the narcissist needs a place to stay, that's supply. If the narcissist needs food, that's the supply. If the narcissist needs money, that's the supply. There is no connection. There is no interpersonal connection when it comes to the narcissist. I need this. I am entitled to this. And if I need to gaslight you, if I need to manipulate you, if I need to lie to you to get this, then that's what I will do. Because their survival is based on that. So when we look at, you know, why do I still miss them? The reason why you miss them is because you're missing an illusion that you saw of yourself. I get it. I get it, because if you're at, I guess, the halfway point of healing, or you're starting to actually rationalize that you need to heal, you're going to see, and this is something that I used to say to my narcissistic abuser over and over again: you bring nothing to the table. To where I'd be met with, well, somebody will want all of this. That's not something of substance. That is that they enjoy your torture. You're right, Ricky Page 27. They enjoy your torture. Actually, it's not so much that they enjoy it, they feed off of it. They do. And we sometimes, when we think about the narcissistic smirk, we think that they are enjoying it. What they're doing is they're satisfied that they found a way to keep their shame down. Okay, I don't think, and this is just due to my research, and somebody put it in the chat, especially if there's a mental health professional here, put it in the chat or over here. Put it in the chat if you feel that the narcissist actually enjoys what they're doing, or is it something that they just do? Think about that for a second. Hey, what's up, Narcissist man? Think about that for a second. Is it something that is just part of their life cycle, or do they really get pleasure and joy from it? The reason why I don't think that they get pleasure and joy from it is because when have you known your narcissist to be literally, really joyful and happy? You might see a few minutes of what you would perceive as happiness, but there's always a fire drill after that. There's always some sort of chaos that comes after that, because the narcissist can't sit still with themselves, because you have to remember, you're looking at someone that has the emotional intelligence of a 3 to 5 year old. Literally 3 to 5 years old. Okay, so when you look at those facts, I don't think that they enjoy what they're doing. I don't think a virus enjoys what it does. I don't think a parasite enjoys what it does. I think it's just part of their life cycle. I've come to the point over the last few months, I've really come to understand, this is why I say they're demonic. I've come to understand that there's really no humanity except the shell. I don't think that, I'm not even just talking about the lack of empathy. I'm not just talking about that. I really think that it's just a shell. Almost like David Icke would say, like lizard people with a mask. I literally think that's what we're dealing with. And this is why I do what I do. In fact, I was just having a conversation with someone outside before I came in. And they asked me what I do. And I explained, I said, I do trauma healing. They pleasure themselves, so yes, they enjoy it. Well, how do you define pleasure? I mean, do you think that a mosquito, and I'm just asking, I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong, but I'm just asking, do you think a mosquito literally gets pleasure from landing on top of you? And because they're kind of like the narcissist, because mosquito actually give you something to numb the area they're about to poke. And before they start drinking, do you think they find enjoyment in it? Or do you think it's just something that they just do? And thank you for that. Thank you. Because I love good discourse. I really do. You know. Anything that is pleasing. Okay, okay. Well, we'll go with that. We'll leave that there. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky Pay 27 for putting that in. Let me see what they're doing over here on YT and FB. Not too much, just a bunch of creepers. But so, when we look at the fact that we are missing this person, why are we missing this person? We saw them for what they are. We understand this person never meant me any good. We felt the need to get out, to get free, to find someplace else. Like I said, sometimes it might just be sleeping on the couch at a friend's house. You just needed to get away. Why do you think we still miss them? And there's one term that I use often that kind of explains that. Why do we still feel at times like the narcissist has the ability to change? Well, thank you so much for the likes, Knox Knight, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. You know what? What in your mind is making you when your phone is across the room and maybe you gave them a ringtone, because they give you moments of question mark, question mark, question mark. You're right, Ricky Pay. Moments of nothing. But and thank you for answering that. But here's the deal. The reason why you still miss them is because you're still painting a different picture in your head. In fact, I'm going to tell you something. As a person that feels that they have healed from the trauma bond, one of the things that I had to stop doing was going back to those times. Maybe we went away for a weekend. Maybe, we tried a new restaurant. Maybe we went to a place that we've never gone before. Maybe I took them back to where I grew up at. And we look at those as being good times. But when you start breaking down the day, one of my favorite creators, Sinful, says this all the time. You made those good times. You made those good times. The narcissist was just there. This was your energy throughout that whole situationship. This was always your energy. And I had to realize that because what I was doing was I was shifting reality around in my mind. Because nervous system, still being a junkie right now. Still wanting this person back. Because this is how all withdrawals happen. It's like you lose the thing that kept you stable, or at least you thought it kept you stable. You lose that thing and now you crave it. And it takes you time before you realize that this thing never really kept me stable. Yep, they made those memories for us. Yes, the narcissist, you guys have to remember, if you would take an honest look at that relationship, I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that those good moments happened because of what was inside of you, not was inside of them at all. At all. Because anytime you ask a grown adult what they bring to the table and they start going like this, that kind of tells you all that you need to know. That is something that a child would say. Well, hopefully not a child. I don't want to get in trouble with TikTok, but you know what I'm saying. And Tracy Hodges says we are too busy trying to please them, not validating ourselves, valuing ourselves rather. That is it. That is it, because here's the deal. When we look at it from an addiction withdrawal system, isn't that what those people do? When you think about it, you're so busy trying to get your hands on that magical thing that you think in your mind is magical that you forget about yourself. And this is why people that become hooked, their appearance starts to go down. They stop caring about themselves. Because at the end of the day, all they're caring about is this thing. And the narcissist has trained us to abandon ourselves, literally abandon ourselves to keep on jumping through hoops for them. Again, this is why it's done on purpose. I say this often. Phase one must work. Phase one being the love bombing stage. If phase one does not work, they cannot proceed with the plan. The initial love bombing must go off without a hitch. And literally, we get warning signs during that time period, but we're so happy. The first argument between the intellectual side of you and your nervous system. Your nervous system is saying this is moving too fast. This doesn't feel safe. That this person got something up under their sleeve, and your mind is saying, "Hey, listen, I just found my soulmate. I'm kind of happy right now." Ricky Page 27. What if a child is involved, not your own? That's. I've had to deal with that coming from a situation with a blended family. Um, First off, let's get one thing straight. Narcissists care about nothing or no one else except themselves. They don't. Okay, everything is a tool, everything is an object, everything is a means to an end. So you might find triangulation, you might find extreme isolation, especially if you have feelings for that child that may or may not be yours. They will use that as a weapon. Um, Whenever you leave, okay, and especially if you heal from the trauma bond, if you leave, you cause what's called a narcissistic injury. It's like literally a blow to them. You know, they can't grasp it, they can't understand it. And what they do, this is part of the reason for the smear campaign. What they have to punish you. You've injured them, so they have to punish you. However, when you heal, and this is an important aspect of healing, when you heal, not depending on them seeing you heal, you actually cause mortification. Okay, it's called narcissistic mortification. It's like does not compute, because their need to be in control has just been ripped away from them. This is why I tell survivors all the time, the best way, if you really are dead set on revenge, go heal yourself. Go heal yourself. And that way you don't have to become involved at all in karma. Because once you heal and you heal for yourself, what you will soon find, I'm over it, but what happens to the child? Dad, let me get to that. Yeah. This is the strange thing. They don't even recognize you after you heal. Yes, you're right, Knox Nightmare. You're right. But let me go back to Ricky. I'm over it, but what happens to the child? If it's your child, that depends, because they're still with a narcissistic parent, and usually narcissistic parents create narcissists. But at the same time, there's a silver lining to that, is because narcissistic parents sometimes create empaths. So the only advice, I mean, this is what I keep in my arsenal, is I just always try to be present, loving, and understanding for my children. That's it. That's it. Because I understand that this will play out one way or the other. Again, the narcissist doesn't care. I like to pretend that I want her back so she stays away. That's a different take. Ricky Page 27. That's a different take. I I I think after I completely healed, if I even think about that person, sometimes I get waves of nausea. I really do. It's almost like in those horror movies with the demons. They're like, "Ooh, what's that smell? Oh God, I feel sick to my stomach." When I think about my narcissist, that's how I literally feel. Because I had to. There's this thing that we run via Church of Real Talk. By the way, I am a nonprofit. So there's this thing that we run called Healing Through Peaceful Choices. Where and I think it's very important that we do this, is that we stop knocking ourselves over the head for actually loving this demon. We didn't know at the beginning that they were a demon. You know, I'm just here if I get to see her, she comes around. Okay. But that's what Ricky says, Ricky Page 27. But yeah, what happens is we have to forgive ourselves for being bamboozled. You know, I'm quite sure some of the people that Bernie Madoff fleeced, I mean, some of them have just accepted it. They stopped blaming themselves for being so stupid whatsoever because they came to realize, like, well, this was a professional. I wasn't prepared for this. You know, nobody told me to look out for these warning signs. And that's the same thing with the narcissist. You have to forgive yourself, you know, and don't start ripping away what you felt for them because what you felt for them was real. Never, never take that away from yourself. That was real. Now, how the other person interpreted that, how the other person took that, how the other person reacted to that is completely on them. You did nothing wrong. You know, and this is part of the healing journey. You know, because as long as you hate yourself for loving them or call yourself stupid or weak for falling for the okey doke, okay, as long as you hate them, okay, I don't hate my narcissist, but given the option, I wouldn't care if they was taking in oxygen or not. Honestly, I don't, you know, but I'm not going to put the energy into hating them. You know, the revenge cycle went away like after the first month where I decided I'm just going to heal. You know, then it's like you come to realize after leaving all of these broken carcasses behind them, all these broken bodies of people that they have destroyed, where do you think they end up when they get older? Who's going to be there for them? After all the manipulation, after all the gaslighting, when people start to realize, well, you never saw me as a person, you just saw me as a means to an end. So where do you think they go from there? Nursing home, bunch of cats, nobody knocks on the door. Every once in a while, their child might say, you know, I don't hear them. So can someone do a wellness check? Tracy Hodges says, you can forgive, but yeah, but not forget. Um, no, you shouldn't forget what they did. But it's not so much about forgiving them, it's about forgiving yourself. Because when you walk out of these relationships, when you walk out of these dynamics, that's part of the problem. You don't forgive yourself. You know, I took quite a while to forgive myself. Um, Being a native New Yorker, I'm like, what the hell? I let them get over on me. I'm glad that I didn't have a couple of million in the bank because they could have sold me the Brooklyn Bridge. But when you start to realize that this is just, I mean, do we literally want revenge against the mosquito? Do we go chase down their whole bloodline? Because, you know, we swatted the mosquito. Now we're going to spend the whole day in the woods looking for every mosquito. Can't stop being the way I am. You can't. Ricky, that's on you. That's on you. We all find our way. We all find balance in the best way possible. My only thing is I want to make sure, again, since I need empath boots on the ground, I just want to make sure that your nervous system and the intellectual side of you are no longer in that battle. That's all. I'm not here. I'm not here to judge anybody. I am here to give people resources. I'm here to give people help. I'm here to give people clarity. You know, and it's with all things in life. And I have to be honest here because I live by this rule. You know, hey, listen, people tell me stuff all day long. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to buy into it. But the type of person I am is I'm actually going to research it, especially if it makes me, they might be right. You know, I'm going to research it and then I'm going to draw my own conclusion. You know, and that's all I offer here. This is what I offer with the community. You know, I used to get on lives constantly, twice a day, hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes a clip, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. And it was multi-streams and I was online constantly. And I had to say to myself, I was like, okay, how are you being of assistance just doing this? I appreciate you too, Ricky. I do. How do you not only sustain a movement, but how do you reach the people that really need to be reached? And it's hard. It's hard because a lot of people will come to these lives, they'll drive through, circle back around, then I'm trying to give feedback. I try to be inspiring. No, that's what's up. I appreciate that. I definitely do. I definitely do. I love this course. I do. I really do. You know, so what happens is, and then sometimes we get people that come in here just want to start ruckus. Um, but I said if I can put all the tools, people know I sell courses, right? So I sat up here and I said to myself, I could do what TikTok wants me to do and literally sit up here, go live constantly, and sell all of these courses, right? What I decided to do was I just built a community. I did. I just built an interactive community where people are serious about healing. Not kind of thinking about it. Not I'll do it next week. Not I got years on the clock. I'll figure it out. People that are like, I'm tired of this ish. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of just getting through day by day because I still got this damn demon on my mind. So I built a community. And then I said, well, you made all these courses. People that's in the community, just give them access to these courses. You've written all these books. Give people in the community access to these books. You know, the newest app, it's not app. I'm thinking about putting it up on in the Google Play Store. But the newest app is actually a GPT. So it's a customized GPT. It's already got the logic and programming built in to basically, it's called the Clarity Response System. So what it's basically built for is something that I definitely needed. Because like I always say, there's going to be situations where you can't just go no contact with the narcissist. I'm in one of those situations. I can't just ignore them. I can't just delete them out my phone. I have to keep the lanes of communication open. And if they always so thank you, Ricky. I needed that laugh. So, you know, some of the reasons why you can't go completely no contact or just disappear off the grid from their view um, is to actually, here's the deal, is if you have property, if you have a job with them and you're just not trying to give up your paycheck, if you have property, business, or if you have children with them, you can't go no contact. It's next to impossible. So what I did was one of the things that I struggled with was learning how to. There's these things called yellow rock. We've all heard of gray rock, and there is controlled access. Okay, so I had to learn that on my own. Okay, and it wasn't easy. There were a lot of times where I get so frustrated, I want to throw my phone across the room, or if I'm outside, throw it on the ground. You know, there were definitely those times. Um, so being the person that I am, I decided, hey, listen, you're pretty well versed in GPT. In fact, I got books out on it, and actually, I used to teach a course to veterans. So there's these things called customized GPTs that allows you to program it with all the things that you need so that a user can just use it and get the responses that they need based off of that framework. So what I did was the clarity response system is for those people struggling with the communication. You know, so you can literally copy the text from a text message or copy an email, or you can actually, if you're having a conversation, just turn on the mic and say what was said to the GPT and just ask it to analyze it. And it's based to analyze for manipulation, for guilt tripping, for gaslighting. It's built to see if you're being tried to be drawn into confusion. And the more you use it, not only do you become more comfortable with the communication, okay, and you're not getting upset and wanting to throw your phone away because those damn things are expensive. You're not doing that anymore. You're actually getting responses. And here's the cool part that I actually programmed in was very good, Ricky Page 27. One of the things that I actually programmed in, it's going to actually give you advice on whether you even need to respond. And more importantly, how to respond. so as not to be drawn in. I think we've all been drawn into those circle jerk conversations or texts. Like, why can't this just end? The narcissist is doing it on purpose. It's not like they don't understand what you're typing into that little box. They understand completely. It's just a sense of control. Remember, 99% of what a narcissist does is for control. So yeah, believe it or not, this app, it's not a public app. Okay. It sits inside the community. Free. Free. I did the not that I was being when I was building it, because I started building it and then I came back to it and started dropping in actions. Things that the GPT needed so that the logic would work correctly. So I started dropping in actions, and when I did that, I was like, oh, this could put the movement really, really ahead. So I did analysis on based on the app, or the GPT rather, based on the GPT. How would I market it? Okay, the prices that it came up was $97 up to $197, and then it suggested that I add a monthly on top of that. Okay, trying to build a nonprofit as well as be there for people going through trauma bonds. I ain't got time to do marketing for that. So what I did was I put it in the community. So it's free access in the community. You just go to the classroom, go to the module, and it shows you how to use it. I actually put in instructions on how to use it effectively so that you're not, excuse me, all over the place. Mm. So that's what I do with the community. And depending, guys, go ahead and share this out because I'm going to give 3 people annuals. Text them and don't answer back if you want to be mean. Ricky, come on, Ricky. You do know that, and I think that you do know that any reaction is food for the narcissist. It really is. Any reaction. So one of the things that I had to learn, me, not talking about you, but me, that I had to learn the hard way is how to stop giving them reactions, how to stop being drawn into the confusion, because the confusion is created on purpose. It's like that kid that has nothing to do. You know what? I think I was that kid. I really think I was that kid. I don't know if I told you the story, but I got bored one day. And there was this thing that all I knew was the electrical outlets, they turned on everything that I liked. Everything that I loved as a kid came from a plug. So one day I decided that I was going to stick things inside that plug. I think it was like the first thing was like a broom thistle. It did nothing. It did nothing. Nothing happened. Pieces of paper, nothing freaking happened. And then I found the bobby pin. Threw my little butt across the room. Threw my little butt across the room. And this is literally how the narcissist thinks about their day. It's honestly like 2 tornadoes that tear each other apart. Uh, I don't know. I don't, at least with my narcissist, I just, like I said, I get that whiff of like brimstone, like, I'm sick. I'm going to be nauseous. Oh, look, I got throw up. That's how I am with them. And that's not to be mean. It's just, that's where my nervous system puts them. It's almost like a person that, does Newports. I think I can say Newports here, or Camels or Marlboros. A person that does that, when they stop, it becomes disgusting to them. Those are people that complain like, oh my God, can't you? And when I was younger, I used to say, but you used to. Why are you coming at me that way? Oh my God, it just stinks. Oh my, can you just go across the street and do that? That's how I feel about my narcissist. It's like, you're out my system. I don't like you anymore. I don't care about you anymore. So thereby, you kind of disgust me. So yeah, that's the way that I look. Namas Nama, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. That's the way that I look at it. And we all have different ways of coping and getting through this. We do. But the important thing is that, once again, if your nervous system and the intelligent side of your mind are no longer arguing. You are getting through life without this person actually superimposing themselves on your day. Um, I think that's the most important part, because when we were in that dynamic, that's all they did, and they superimpose. I'm calm again, but I guess I'm used to chaos. That is one of the things. Do me a favor. I'm going to tell you something. Send me a message. I'm going to send you something, because that is literally the mark of the trauma bond. You know, is the being used to care of their life. I'm not here to diagnose anybody. Some people that's just what they like, chaos. I think that and all the jobs that I had in my career was working in an emergency room. I loved it because that is chaos, you know. But when it comes to relationships, I don't think relationships should be chaotic. I don't. I think relationships should be the most grounded thing that you experience in this reality. I think relationships should be based on no matter what you're going through, without a shadow of a doubt that this person has your back. That no matter what happens, you can depend on this person being there for you. That's how I feel. With the narcissist, we never get any of that. We get the illusion of such. We get a false sense of being secure. But I've gone through these 3 times, and like I said, the second one wasn't all that. Well, yeah, it was kind of horrible. But this was straight, like they just sat next to Satan for their entire existence, just learning from the big boss. That's what the last one was. And what happens is you feel so emotionally unsafe. And that's one of the things that you should never feel in a relationship is emotionally unsafe. That is your first warning sign. Those times where you're feeling something and it's weighing heavily on your soul, who should be the first one that you should be able to turn to? Let's be honest. The person that sleeps next to you every day, that every once in a while says that they love you, that every once in a while says that they care about you. That should be your first go-to by default. It should be you and that person against the world, not with the narcissist. Not with the narcissist. And this is true because at some point you stop telling them how you felt. Who does that in a relationship? This should be beyond a shadow of doubt. You should trust this person almost as much as you trust your parents if you have a good relationship with your parents. This is the damage that narcissism does, and many survivors they sometimes they can't pick up the baton and just say, okay, I'm just going to run down the track so I can pass this to someone who's going to help me win. And many survivors find themselves going through life alone. There's no empath on this planet. Yes, if you have narcissistic parents, some of them are worse. And if you're an empath, more than likely, I'm going to guarantee that you had at least a narcissistic parent. But yeah, when you look at it, when you start looking at relationships, there's certain things that we have standards. We have standards as individuals, as human beings, certain things that we'll tolerate, certain things that we won't tolerate. Before this one, I met this chick, and she wasn't a narcissist. In fact, I kind of thought she was kind of cool, but there are certain things that we just didn't line up with. There were certain things that just when it came to certain boundaries, they really couldn't understand it. A lot of my other boundaries they respected, but there was just certain things they just couldn't latch on, and it just became frustrating. And it was one of those things where I was just like, I don't think this is working out. I ain't got nothing against you, but this is not really working. I think we're on two different paths, and I don't want to get in the way of your path. This is what happens, in real relationships. You can actually go your other way. You can closure. This is what I gave this person. I gave them closure. I wanted them to understand the reason why I couldn't move forward. I didn't want them to doubt that. Who here has gotten closure from a narcissist? Who here has gotten closure from the person that they spent any place from 2 to 35 years with? Because to the narcissist, closure is control. It's something that you want. They don't understand closure anyway. You got to have empathy. You got to have the ability to reflect. Things that the narcissist can't do. So no, they're never going to give you closure. Never 34 years into it. Yeah, 34 years into it. You're right. The knock op. What's up? Thank you for joining, sir. I appreciate you. But yeah, you have to realize that waiting on closure, you're actually handcuffing yourself to the narcissist. It's not going to happen. And that again is part of your healing, because if even a small minute part, one brain cell is waiting on closure, you're not going to heal. You're not going to, and then the narcissist is going to be able to draw you back in. Just that easy. Again, this is why I tell you this is strategic. This is like a psyop, as the CIA calls it. This is literally a psyop. Okay? They go through the love bombing. Again, phase one has to be perfect. Okay? Once you're sitting up there on the pillow, giving them hugs and saying, "Oh, I love you so much, and where have you been?" They know that they got you. Then starts the manipulation, gaslighting, and devaluation. And it picks up steam as it goes along. But it always ends the same exact freaking way. The same way. The discard. And due to what they did in phase one, due to the very beginning, think about this for a second. You're hooked. You're hooked. You can't just let go, like I told you about that previous relationship before the narcissist. You can't. Oh no, you're hooked, because during that situationship, that intermittent reinforcement made you into a junkie. You name the substance. Now you're just like those people that you cannot. Hey, what's up, Janana Mama? You cannot. You can't shake this. You're looking in the mirror every day, watching your life fall apart, but you can't shake this. You're still going to call the plug. In your case, you're still going to stare at the narcissist like a puppy dog and say, "When's the next time you're going to act like I'm seen?" You are hooked. You're strung out on this person, and it was done on purpose. It was done on purpose so that they could come back when they wanted to and finish destroying you. That you would never get back on your feet again. Thank you for the heart, me Janana Mama. I missed you. So yeah, those things, when you look at those things that kept you trapped, why are you finding it so hard to just forget about them? Well, not even forget about them. Just have them stop orbiting your life. How confident were you before you met them? Now, if you had to judge your confidence after being with them, where would you put yourself? because that's part of what they need to do. They hate the fact that you're confident. They don't even know what the word means, much less how to spell it. Confidence? Oh no, that's just another reason to hate you. Remember when, again, I always say I'm goal oriented, but as empaths, we always have this thing where we're creators. We build stuff. We do stuff. And we wake up out the blue one day and we say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this. Thank you, Ms. D. Thank you. And thank you for joining. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to make this recipe. I'm going to start this show. I'm going to build this community. And we would get up and do it. We didn't seek validation from anybody. We did it. We didn't go around and constantly ask people, what do you think about this idea? We did it. Because that's what's inside of us. During that narcissistic relationship, did you feel the same way? My first red flag was when I asked this person for validation for something that I was doing, knew from the beginning that I was going to do on my own, knew that I wasn't going to get any help or support, but I'm asking this person that has created nothing, that has done nothing. I'm asking this person, you think this is a good idea? My first red flag. I could live with myself, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, where's the pen and a piece of paper? Because I got a great freaking idea. Throw it on the nightstand, wake up, look at it in the morning, and start work on it. Many of you are like that. But after the narcissist, no, you're not. You've got to build that back. You literally have to build that back. Besides, he was always like, give me all your attention. We had nothing to offer. Well, that's, and you're so right in saying that, Mama, because what happens is it's always a transaction for the narcissist. The only thing is they've trained us to want not even the bare minimum. Let me feel seen. Let me get a glimpse of that person that I met in the beginning. That's all we want. But the narcissists, they want blood, sweat, and tears. I need you to help me do this. Can you show me how to do this? But can you go to the narcissist and ask them the same thing? I used to often think about that. This is what helped me stop rewriting the reality that I experienced in my mind. I had to understand I couldn't go to them for that. Ricky Page says the black eyes, the black-eyed kids, black-eyed adults, yeah. And just like the black-eyed kids, the whole thing is they tried to have you get them in. Isn't that the narcissist? You don't know what's going to happen if you let a black-eyed kid into your house. You don't know. You're scared. But the narcissist, we bring them in. Come on in, Dracula. It's what? Why are you still standing outside? Oh, just come in. Just come in. And there goes the beginning of the end. That's how it turns out every time. You can tell I watched a lot of horror movies growing up, but I did. I really, really did. So let's understand why we can't just walk away. Okay. So trauma bonds involve powerful reward and stress cycles. We went over that. That's your addiction right there. You name the substance, the narcissist does it better. Hope keeps many survivors attached longer than reality does. Hope, something that I harp on constantly. There is no hope. If there was hope for this demon, let me explain something to you. If there was hope, it would have shown up already by now. Like I said, 2 to 35 years. When do you think that this hope and potential is going to show up? If you're 5 years into it, when do you think that hope and potential is going to show up? If you're 10 years into it, at what point do you give up on hope and potential? At 20 years, when do you start thinking like there's no hope and potential in this person? See, we have to stop painting reality all over again in our minds because that's what we're doing. It's almost like that person that needs that substance. They know that their phone bill has to be paid, but what are they doing? They're rationalizing, rewriting reality so that they can call the plug and get what they need. Think about that for a second. Um, so the bond often connects us to potential, not reality. God, I'm so ahead of myself. Here's the key insight: the trauma bond doesn't keep you attached to who they are, it keeps you attached who you hope they would become. That's what's trapping you. They'll only mask up temporarily if you ever tell them what you want. Yeah, but you'll never get that same intent, and they'll bring it to your attention that you're not bringing your A game to the table. But yet and still, what do you get from the narcissist? You get their X game, their Y game, their Z game, or my favorite, I don't know how to do this stuff. You're better off doing it on your own. But they want you to come to the table all with guns blazing, ready to get it done. Out of 3 narcissistic relationships, 2 of them I had to deal with it. The constant, I don't know how to do that. That's what you do. Well, how do you think I figured out how to do it? I sat down, took some time, and learned how to do it. None of us come into this world with all of this knowledge. We don't. We learn it along the way. So 2 of them were like that. One of them felt super entitled that this is my idea. I need you to make it happen. And I'm sitting there like, huh? No, this is what you do. We're together. This is what, people that are together are supposed to do. Well, it seems like people that are together, I'm doing all the work and you're just sitting back, finding new ways to drain me. You freaking mosquito. So, yeah, so this is what I had to deal with. But a lot of times, again, we say hope because of potential. And Tracy Hodges says, yes, they use your response. Yes, they do. They weaponize your very responses against you. Again, that comes from the data mining. While you were in phase 1, I hate to tell you this, but while you were in phase 1, they were collecting data. They were collecting your weak points. They were collecting your strong points. Needs your strong points because they had to know how to chip away at those. Okay, they're trying to figure out what brings fear to you or anxiety. They're finding out all this stuff on purpose because it will be used against you. If you've gotten out or you're at the latter stage of the devaluation stage, you'll find that everything that you told them in confidence is now being thrown at you left and right like darts and knives. Okay, this is what they do. Those conversations that you had, those late night conversations, those conversations where you thought you were bonding, you weren't bonding, you were giving them the keys to the castle. That's what you were giving them. Nothing more, nothing less. You literally gave them the keys to the castle. And you made them feel, as if no fruit. That's right. Ricky Pay 27 says no fruit. Wante, what's up? So what we find is that while we're in this situationship, while we're rewriting reality, because we're looking for our next dopamine, and let's call it what it is. That's why. Thank you for the heart, me, Wante. Thank you so much. That's what it is. We're waiting for that next hit of validation from you. And when you think about it, once you begin to heal, you start telling yourself, why the hell was I doing that? Because it becomes crystal clear. And this is why they hoover you back, because it's like oh, thank you for the level up. Oh, look at that. That looks delicious. But when you look, when you look at what we do to ourselves, based on the hope of someone returning to what we see in the beginning, it's frightening. It is literally frightening. And this is why I built this community, because I understand that it is frightening. I understand what it's like to hit that brick wall while you're researching what you're dealing with and can't find anything. So yeah, I tend to, in fact, I have another worksheet that I'm uploading tomorrow after tomorrow's live on the community. Um, it's Armor Bond worksheet. I'm uploading it to the community tomorrow so people have access to it. So people can actually figure out, hey, am I really in the trial bond? Does that Minister Robinson guy know exactly what he's talking about, or he's just trying to sell courses? Notice that I no longer try to sell courses. I put my stuff up there for you guys to see what you basically get for nothing inside of the community. But you got to be in the community. You got to. You've got to actually be about you for once. You were about the narcissist for so long. You've got to be about you, and it's long overdue. And I'm sorry, FBNYT. I'm sorry, people. Just hit the link in my bio, and it will take you there. So I appreciate you all. But yeah, you have to. It's time to feed into yourself. We've been. Is that a fiery phoenix? Oh, I love whatever it is. You've given so much of your life to the most undeserving being on this planet, and I use those words correctly. Okay, they did not deserve 1 minute of your time from the beginning. They didn't. And I'm going to tell you the truth. They manipulated from the word go. Okay? One of the things that actually comes with healing and understanding what you went through is you get to deconstruct those patterns and you see them clearly from the word go, what they were doing. And I'm not telling you to stay so that you can go out there on the hate the narcissist spree over here on social media. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, accept it for what the hell it was, accept it for what it is, and start rebuilding your life. This community, if I was still with the narcissist, this community or any community like this couldn't have existed. Because they had drank so much out of me. Here it goes. I've been away from this person for a year. No closure. Not coming. Don't expect it. Don't really care. Don't really care. Honestly. On my grandmother's grave. Don't care. It's not that important to me. Do you know what's important to me? Me. And you know what? You to you. The narcissist, due to their fake confidence, their fake superiority, their fake worldliness, got you to believe in them. What new level of evil is that? Let's play a little game here. If you had been with your narcissist, I'm going to say over 2 years, that's kind of like the litmus that I use for main supply. They moved in, they're living with you, blended family, whatever. Can someone tell me what the narcissist brought to the table of substantial value to that relationship on any level? I want you guys to think long and hard about that. What did they literally bring to the table? I always think that when I'm in a relationship, at the very least, I'm going to help my partner grow, become a better version of themselves with or without me. That's something valuable. Thank you, Janana Mama. Fake superiority. Thank you. Thank you. I think that for any fulfilling relationship, That should be something that is on the table. Hey, no matter what happens, I want you to be the best version of yourself. And hopefully you want the same for me. And that way, that's how we become a power couple. See, I respect those couples that nothing comes between that relationship. And I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm not talking about that. Nothing comes between that relationship. Anything can be discussed within a safe environment. Anything. Even stuff you don't agree upon. You feel safe. You might have a tizzy of a spaz out argument, but at the end of the day, you feel safe with this person. See, to me, that's a real relationship. Did you get that with the narcissist? Or did you find yourself constantly hiding your feelings, but anytime they imagined that they felt anything, you had to sit there full attention and listen? Do you do I mean honestly, can anybody tell me what the narcissist literally brings to the equation? I can tell you mine said this, like it's my first rodeo. This is what I bring to the equation. Uh, the factory, every model that comes off the factory assembly line has the same equipment. What makes your equipment special? Really? After they are gone, everyone is suspect. Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that because that is considered, not saying that you got it, I'm not here to diagnose anyone, that is considered hyper vigilance. Because I went through it. I trusted no one. I lived my life like Mulder. I trust no one. There's a plot. There's somebody scheming. You know my ex-narc. I trusted no one. But I had to work through it, and I found the rule of thumb, and I've shared this with you all at some point or another. Is there? I put the image of the DSM-5 on my phone. So what I would do is before I just called everybody a narcissist or everyone, that individual out to get me, I would say to myself, well, if they were sitting in front of a mental health professional, which would probably never happen, they would use 5 of these 9 criterion to diagnose them. And that's what I started doing. There are a lot of effed up people in this world, but they're not all narcissists. Okay, they're not. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that because I was pushing good people away. People that wanted to help, people that were concerned, people that wanted to be of assistance. That can be healed. Yeah, the hypervigilance part can be healed. It definitely can be. But you have to. There are different techniques and different ways of doing it, but it's part of the experience of breaking free from the trauma bond. Because your nervous system has been so accustomed to chaos that peace or stability seems to be foreign at this stage. It's like going to a foreign country and somebody's feeding you something. You're like, what the hell is this? It's like food. We eat this every day. No, I don't eat this every day. What the hell is this? Is this poison? Do I need to build up? Do I need to take a shot? So hypervigilance is one of those things. Well, when you heal, it doesn't hurt the next time because you won't find the next time. What happens is, and I try to tell the survivors, is I got this real cool superpower. This is the only thing that the narcissist brings to the table, but you got to go through narcissistic abuse to get it. Is you can see them. It's like that movie, They Live. You can see them. Glasses, no glasses, you can see them. Within 5 minutes of a conversation, the empath in you will just get that, dude, be careful, or Missy, be careful. We've seen this before. Something I used to say, yeah, I know this song. So this is part of healing. And Monte says, once you break free, you're literally learning to live again. Yes, Monte, you are correct. You are correct. It's strange because I felt is that, you know what? I felt like I was in ninth grade again, as far as life is concerned. I did. I felt like I just ninth grade, junior high school. This is literally what I felt like. Um, but as an empath, if you dedicate yourself to you, okay, if you dedicate yourself to rebuilding you, because I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to be fractured. I see people, in fact, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I was jumping in and out of people's lives just to see what was going out there in the trauma bond sphere. I wanted to see what was going on. And I found out a lot of interesting stuff. I really did. And I would never say anything bad about another creator, so don't get me wrong. There were people there that had no clue, but they're selling services, coaching service. How can you help someone else understand it? I mean, all over the place. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I ran into a couple of what people call the narcissists that actually know that people are dealing with the trauma bond, and they are selling their services. Now, the thing is, as a person that has studied this, and I'm quite sure the narcop, because I feel he's very knowledgeable about this thing, this trauma bond thing. I'm sure he can agree to this. There are narcissists that are taking advantage of the fact that you're an empath. Okay, there are narcissists. They are the little sheep, wolves in sheep's clothing. And you guys got to be careful out there. You really do. I think I talked about this the other night about the person that says, "I can help you break the trauma bonds in 21 days," and I'm just like staring at the screen in disbelief. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you take someone that's been in a 10, 15, 5-year relationship and, right, Ricky says 21 days is not going to do it's not. And I'm going to tell you something. If I wasn't the person that I was, if I didn't go through this, if I didn't understand this would be the quick way for me to build up my nonprofit and just actually get everything that I need done. If I got online and just told people that, listen, I can heal you in 21 days. The amount of people going through the trauma bond, if every third person paid me, I would be rich overnight. I'm not going to do that. But there's somebody out there that's doing that right now. And from just by listening to them, I'm like, you're a freaking narcissist. You're a freaking narcissist taking freaking advantage of empaths. Well versed in the language that we use, well versed in what they do to people. And I'm sitting up there and I'm like, this is insane. And this is part of the reason why I'm kind of moving this off of TikTok and moving this into the community. Okay, there's no hearts, there's no roses, there's no nothing. You go in there, you get what you need, you begin the process of healing yourself. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Oh yeah, I go live over there. I do. I go live like what? I think it's 5 times a week. In fact, I go live tomorrow at 1 p.m. But it's a community. It's a community. It's actually to be part of. Again, I just it's like I used to tell my narcissists, there's no return on investment. I used to tell them there's no return on investment. You know, this community has a return on investment. Again, the course is there. I just put up my services pin. Look through that. Those courses will end up, actually, one of them is up there right now, will end up in the community. That customized GPT is not for sale on the interwebs. It's in the community. No, it's not here. It's not going here. Because I need people that are serious about healing. I don't want people as well. Again, I need empaths or boots on the ground. I can't, I have a nonprofit. I can't waste time just saying, do you want to heal? Do you want to heal? Do you think it's time that you heal? Would you like to heal? Are you tired of going through this issue? I don't want to do that. I want real people that want to heal, that want to go in and say, okay, what does, this Mr. Robbins talks a good freaking game. What the hell has he got? And I want you to scroll through and be like, wow, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this course first. Okay, I got that clarity now. Oh, wow. I was just wondering about this. That's how I built it. Not for people that want to think that healing is going to come easy or in 21 days. And to this day, I have yet to see anyone give a testimonial that they broke the trauma bond in 21 days. I don't. Because intermittent supply doesn't have to get through the trauma bond. They're just there for a transaction. It's us, the ones that have their clothes in the closet, the ones of us that sleep next to them in the same bedroom, the ones of us that break bread with them every day. We're the ones that go through the trauma bond. Not intermittent supply. Not because they needed to be validated for a week. Not that person. They don't go through this. It's going to take real work, and that will take long-term commitment. It does. It does. Thank you for putting that pigeon on the mama. But yeah, you have to look at it like that. So I tell people, if you're serious about healing, all you got to do, send me a DM. The community is up in my bio. I'm not going to force you. Because there comes a point where you have to get fed up with this. You have to get fed up with the fact that, every time my phone rings, my heart ends up in my throat because I think this person is calling. There has to be a time where you're just going to say, screw you and your closure. I don't need it. There has to be that time, and I can't decide that for you. I want to, but I can't. Just like I said, when I created that the clarity response system, what I'm simply saying to myself, I am going to be paid in full. I'm doing the Eric B and Rakim dance. I'm going to be paid in full. Okay, I'm moving. I'm going to buy a piece of property. That's where Church of Real Talk is going. I'm Gucci. Okay, because I did the analysis. GPT is selling. Most creators will sell this for either $97 or $197 and add a monthly subscription. And I'm simply saying, what? Let me go ahead and put this inside of the community. That's where it does the most good. That's where it does the most good. Because if you're really serious about healing, you're going to want to figure out a way how to deal with those conversations that just send you on emotional tilt. You're going to want to figure out a way to deal with those conversations with your narcissist. I just saw that. I will leave that alone. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go out there and figure out a way so this person doesn't trigger me. But most importantly, I'm going to find a way to respond that preserves my peace. Think about that for a second. I am going to find a way. Once you heal, this is your main focus. Your main focus is actually literally to preserve your peace, because that's the one thing you've been missing through this whole situationship is your peace. While you're jumping through hoops, while you're making excuses for them, while you're trying to figure out what they're trying to figure out because they don't even know what they're figuring out. Come on, people. Isn't it time? Isn't it time that you do this for you? And then we go live Okay, so we got a marathon on June 1st for Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day. So we go from 11 to 2 or 11 to 3. I'm not sure. It's in the community. It's the calendar. The calendar is actually filled up through the year. Okay, there's something every Sunday. There's something every Tuesday. There's something every Thursday. There's something every Saturday. Okay, lives, workshops, deep dives, things to help you get through this. I don't want people that don't want to get through this to be there. I want people that's going to come bringing something to the table, relevant questions, relevant thoughts, relevant feelings, relevant emotions. And Wante says, if you don't protect your peace, you will end up right back at ground zero. Yes, and this is the reason why many survivors go back. They go back. I thought about it once, but then that whole fire, brimstone, really nasty smell, feeling like I wanted to throw up, that kept me from going back. Because I was intentional and serious about my healing. I didn't want to be. Is no I was trying to come up, or is that just the system? Hold on, I'm going to see if he wants to come up. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. Oh, that's Wante. You can come up too, Wante, if you want to. Yeah, so yeah, you have to. Hey, Wante, go ahead and jump in. I'm sorry. You guys never asked to come up. So I'm like, they don't want to talk to me. They hate me. I can't hear you. Hold on. Maybe it's my phone. Hold on, because I see your thing moving.
How's it going?
All right, now I can hear you. I am doing good. And hold on, Janana Mama. Hold on. Let's get her up in here. I missed her. And now it won't let me invite her. Just put yourself in, Janana. What's going on, Wante? How you doing this evening?
Everything's going well. I missed you guys. I'm like, oh my goodness, there he is. I'm like, where he been?
Well, I go live on the community. You can tell it to send you emails. I actually go, and it's to the point whether people there or not, I go live. I stay consistent because I want people to know that this is the place.
Yeah, because I'm not getting all the notifications, so I might need to go check my settings.
Yeah, because tomorrow at 1 we go.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow at 1.
And thing at 11 o'clock in the morning, right?
I'm sorry. And yeah, I don't know if she's back up. I'm trying to bring her up, but I have no clue what she's doing. And did I just report her? No, I didn't. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me figure this out. You know what? So what do you think? I invited you already. Why am I trying to invite you again? I'm sorry.
She can't let herself up. She should. If she's a mod, she should be.
Yeah, she's been a mod for like forever. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she.
I don't know.
Hey, what's up? How you been, Missy? I missed you.
I'm good. I just went on a road trip and I lost my voice.
Oh my God.
I know. I couldn't even do lives anyway, so.
Oh. Well, make sure you get over to the community. That's where everything goes.
I know. I missed you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I actually broke from everything though.
Yeah. I'm glad the gang is all here. Are you doing your thing tomorrow?
I don't. If I can, I will. Wait, no. Tomorrow I cannot.
Okay.
I cannot do it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing a marathon thing with not a marathon. Sorry, it's a 5K. I guess there's a difference.
Shit. That's enough for me to barf out a lung. That's good.
It's just a walk. It's a walking thing. Don't worry.
Okay, no, that's what's up. Like I said, I need
it's
my
5K.
lungs.
I guess that's like 3 miles or something. I don't know.
I'm not shit.
I'm not running. Nope, it's walking.
I remember when I was younger, I used to do the PT. That's 1.5 miles. I could do that backwards, but not these days.
Oh man, that's cool. You can run backwards.
Well, that was when I was like 18 and in the Navy. That was different.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, not anymore. The check engine light would come on as soon as they say go.
Right? Like that oil.
The check me light.
Yeah.
Like checking out, like.
Yeah. Yeah, so guys, I mean, how do you feel? Wante, you've been in the community. What is your honest take?
I really love everything that you have going on. I mean, because right when I came in and I found you guys here, I was just like towards the edge of
Mm-hmm.
really breaking away and still trying to hold on just a smidgen.
Mm-hmm. Smidgen.
So through so through all of this has helped me just completely to just break away, because like I said, we've been separated for like 2.5 years, but in that 2.5 years, it's been a lot of going back and forwards.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you have to find, and you need to find your rock bottom, not somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find your rock bottom, and you have to get up the courage and the strength to say that I can do this and I can make it without this person. This person is not me.
Yes.
So I can make it. I can still breathe. I can still walk.
Yes.
It may hurt a little bit. I may be a little bit disappointed, but at the end of the day, I can do this.
Yep.
And so that's what I've learned from being in this community. It's giving me strength and the courage to know that I can do this.
Thank you. Thank you. Being of assistance. What about you? Did you go and look, Janani?
No, I just got back in town last night.
Oh, man.
I'm excited, though. This sounds really cool.
Yeah, I think I sent you, I mean, everybody within the no other way, I made sure that they had access. You know, so,
okay. Yay, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So you're not doing your thing this week. Why don't you talk about that? What you do, what you bring to the table?
So I do somatic meditations that help you to reset your nervous system and get your nervous system feeling safe again, so that you can start doing the things that you want to do for your life. I think when it comes down to it, I think we need to have that feeling of safety.
Right.
And it does start with no contact for sure, because if the environment isn't safe, then
right.
It's hard to find that. But and then also resetting the patterning of the nervous system is a major part of it, so that we were not ruminating and what were we talking about earlier?
Rewriting reality.
Being in a state of hypervigilance.
Oh yeah. Hopefully Ricky sent me contacted me so I can send him something to help him get through this. Not that, I mean, he feels that he's all right. I don't like being hypervigilant. I get stuff done, but I feel exhausted when it finally catches up to me mentally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can only do so much from that state, I think.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. As far as the somatic Saturdays, I mean, I love the part that it makes the nervous system feel safe again. Which is it's kind of a hurdle to get your physiology back to the point where you feel comfortable with you. Do you think that you would be able to? Because I would like to move that over to the community. I mean, you could still use your Zoom links and everything if you wanted to.
Okay.
No, but I'm thinking if we can do like 15-minute or half an hour chunks of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to say yeah just because.
If I can, I would like to shorten it a little. I think 45 minutes it ended up being it's a lot of work making those videos for one. But then also, by the time we're done, I feel like it's just like nap time. So
yeah, but I mean, it's so relaxing by default. It is. It is relaxing by default. I feel good. I just hate that feeling at 11 o'clock, like, oh, let me lay down and put something, but read another book or something. So yeah.
No, I almost went to sleep. I was like, and I came in on the end of it. I'm like, and
Yeah.
then I was asleep.
It was a nice day too. I'm talking about where my pillow.
And I'm like, oh my God, I should have been here from the. I probably would have been asleep by that time.
Oh my God!
I fell asleep. I did listen to it.
Wow!
Yeah,
So that was your eyes closed. You wasn't trying to meditate. That was your eyes closed. Okay.
When I got off, I went right on to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the idea is to relax yourself to the point where you can then be able to do, be in tune with your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you need a nap, then your body would say, let's take a nap. But if you need to do other things.
Lies.
But I wouldn't mind doing like 15 minutes. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, why don't we talk sometime this weekend? I know you just got back yesterday. Okay. Just send me a time that's convenient for you, and we'll figure it out. But
if I was you, I would expand that out, not just for people that's dealing with narcissism, but any kind of abuse.
I've been trying to tell them. I've been trying to tell them.
Yeah.
You need to branch that out. Don't get stuck in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
And
really, anyone that went through some kind of trauma can benefit from it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was looking at the paperwork for the nonprofit, and because I'm doing the grant aspect of it right now, and I'm going to have to encompass, trauma on a whole if it's going to be successful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, it's not nice because it means I got to learn. I mean, the narcissist stuff I got down pat, but the other stuff I'm going to have to sit down and deep dive for a while to understand it. I mean, trauma is trauma, how we get through it, but there are different causes of trauma. DV and narcissistic abuse are based on control, but there's other kinds of trauma too.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say, just a lot of abuse that you think about, usually a narc is somewhere in the picture.
Yeah. No. I think the DV comes from malignant narcissist, but again, I'm not. I gotta learn it so that when I send out this, because we got Subaru around me, so I'm gonna definitely hit up Subaru and tell them, hey, can I get a Forester for my nonprofit?
Right.
Yo, the Subaru in Jersey, they actually, if you've got a worthy foundation, a lot of companies out here support. I mean, because I'm from New York, so I can say this. Jersey's got a lot of problems. And, the companies and the powers that be that actually reside in Jersey want to help alleviate some of those problems. So I think all of us are in a good position where we can help people alleviate some of the stressors in life. Again, I have a different reason. I need empath boots on the ground because shit is getting chaotic out there. So I need as many of you as possible out there ready to be of assistance. So, yeah. But so, Wante,
no more road trips.
No, take your road trips. You better take those road trips. I was hoping you say you was going to give up the running part, but hey, to each his own.
No, I'm not running. I'm walking.
That's still too much.
I don't run.
Do they have benches along the way?
That would be nice. I hope so.
So the rest stations. Okay, so before I close this out, I want to talk to you guys about this. Here are some of the signs that the trauma bond is still active. Are you checking their social media? Keep on telling y'all. That is definitely a sign that you're still stuck in the trauma bond. Are you rereading old texts? Now, I have to admit, when I was building the GPT, I had to, in fact, I took out my old phone and I just was using those old texts to test the responses for the new GPT. And it worked out gangbusters. It really did. But if you find yourself rereading old texts over and over again, that means that more than likely, I'm going to bet 70% of the time you're in rumination stage and you're trying to paint them in a different light. That's why you keep on trying to decipher what they're saying. You're trying to see if you can say to yourself, they were stressed at this time and stuff like that. You got to stop doing that. Okay, they knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. So another thing is waiting for closure. We talked on and on about that. Let me ask you, ladies, if you don't mind, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, what do you feel about the whole closure thing?
You'll never get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll never get it. They will basically, they will give you bits and pieces, well, with minds, try to breadcrumb you to keep you just enough to keep you still in the boat, so you want to jump out the boat.
Yep.
And then when they realize you're starting to get smarter and smarter, things start to get real weird. Yep. They start acting crazy, start going ballistic. I mean, blowing up, hollering, screaming. This man, as long as we've been married, he ain't never raised his voice at me up until now.
Yeah.
I mean, the behavior is it's crazy. It gets real. So you have to be just settled that they are never going to tell you what you want to know. So at the end of the day, you have enough evidence.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell you anything else, and you have to be satisfied with that.
Yep. I love that. What do you guys say, Narcissistic? I mean, Janana Mama. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if anything, they'll run away and hide out, thinking that, like if they hide out long enough that you'll forget about it. Yeah. And then when they come back, it's they don't want to talk about it, and and that's just so they can keep the door open. They will never give you closure because they always want to be able to come back and access that prime energy that you were always giving them.
Yep. You're right. Yeah, no, you're right. And Ricky says opposite of closure. Yes, again, it is control. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. That I think most people look for closure in real relationships or fulfilling relationships, no matter how they end. We look for closure for the ability to reflect. And if we sometimes feel it's our fault, it's that whole basis of empathy, understanding for another human being, not even a person that you called your husband, your wife, your fiance, girlfriend, or boyfriend. It's for another human being. The narcissist doesn't have that. So again, the closure, since I know what the demon is, the closure would be fake to me. So why would I accept a lie to move forward? That's just one of the reasons. That's kind of like the mental games that I had to play with myself just to break free from the trauma bond. I had to create those puzzles in my mind. Well, what if they did call you up and say that they were sorry? Would you believe them? Would it make sense to you after all they did to you? So, no, you keep your closure. Go give it to the new supply. Because he's going to be looking for it later anyway. So you keep that for them. I don't need it. I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm going to keep on growing. I'm going to keep on becoming the best version of myself ever. And you are not dependent on that. So I think that's what many, many survivors need to understand. I think you both said it in your own way. That in a sense, it's been about you. It's always been about you. In fact, the whole relationship was about you. You don't need this person for anything. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Are you guys going to join me tomorrow at 1?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Are you going to join in? Or that's what you're walking now. You're walking.
I'm walking.
Freaking walking. I don't know what's wrong with this generation. Something wrong with y'all.
I don't know. It was something my daughter planned, so it's kind of like a family thing.
No, do it.
I was the only one. I was the only one on the family who said, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Oh, see, that should tell you something.
Everybody else ran.
Yeah, everybody went that way.
That's funny. One.
There goes the empath and Janelle. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'll be there. Yeah, and then I hurt my foot on the road trip too. So I'm like, oh my God.
Well, you better get that ace bandage out because you done dedicated yourself.
Yeah, I know you hoarse though. You still sound hoarse.
Yeah.
I know, man.
Well,
the whole time.
Well, why don't you get off of this live and go get some rest? And okay. I'm going to get off myself anyway. So wait, stay muted so you can close it out.
Nice talking to you guys, though.
Yeah, I miss you.
I
miss you. So guys,
I miss you guys.
This is what I want you to say. I can't make you go join the community, okay? But if you're serious about healing, I need you there. I want you there. You should be there, okay? We can only do so much on these lives. We can't. Let's get a focused community, a focused group of empaths that are serious about healing, but more importantly, serious about supporting each other. Okay, because deep down inside, I know you got that inside of you. You don't want somebody else to go through this. And that's what empaths do. So you ladies want to end this out for me or no? Is that no?
Who's first?
Go ahead, Mark. I'm letting Mark take us out.
Okay, good.
I'm always talking.
Well, just like practice that self-love and, every little thing you do for yourself, just, celebrate yourself because it's time to start funneling that energy back into your own life and your own purpose.
Yeah. I love that.
And join the community because that's part of it.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Well,
Wante, what you got?
I just want to say amen to everybody.
There you go. There you go.
Amen to everything. You guys have a good night.
Mm-hmm.
And a wonderful day tomorrow.
All right. Everyone, you already know the deal. Stay powerful, keep healing. The reason why we all do this. Love you guys. I don't want to go live with guests.